The cold wind whipped around the headstones, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and fading flowers. Bruce knelt, his fingers tracing the chiseled name on the marble slab, Rebecca. A quiet, private moment of grief, disrupted by a voice, hoarse and chillingly familiar, cutting through the stillness like a jagged knife. Bruce. He turned, slowly, the blood draining from his face. Brian, his father. Years had passed since the incident, since Brian was taken away after Rebecca. Now here he stood, a spectral figure emerging from the shadows of the past, at the very grave of the woman he had murdered. The air crackled with unspoken accusations, with a lifetime of pain and abuse. Brian's eyes, once full of a twisted genius, now held a disturbing glint, a mixture of resentment and deranged clarity. Words were exchanged, sharp and venomous, escalating rapidly. Brian's presence, his very existence, was a violation of the sacred peace Bruce sought at his mother's grave. The confrontation, inevitable for years, exploded into a physical struggle. Bruce, desperate to protect the sanctity of that space, to protect himself from the toxic legacy of his father, pushed him away. It wasn't a malicious shove, but a desperate act of self-preservation, a plea for distance. Brian stumbled backward, a look of surprise, perhaps even understanding, flickering across his face. He fell, not gracefully, but with a sickening thud. His head struck the edge of Rebecca's gravestone, the very monument to the life he had extinguished, with a horrifying crack. Silence descended, heavy and absolute, broken only by the frantic beat of Bruce's own heart. Brian lay still, utterly, irrevocably still, dead. In that moment, standing over the lifeless body of the man who had tormented his life, a man he had just inadvertently killed, an unbearable weight settled upon Bruce. The guilt was a physical thing, crushing him, threatening to obliterate him entirely. It was too much. The mind, in its desperate attempt to survive unimaginable trauma, sometimes erects powerful defenses. Bruce's mind did just that. It simply could not process, could not accept that he had ended his father's life, even accidentally. The horror of patricide, the ultimate violation, was a truth too devastating to bear. And so he repressed it. Deep, deep down, into the darkest corners of his subconscious, the memory was buried. An elaborate, protective fiction was woven in its place. Brian, his father, had been killed by muggers. It was a random act of violence, senseless and tragic, but crucially, not his fault. This new narrative became his truth, a fragile shield against the soul-crushing reality. He truly believed it. But buried memories don't simply vanish. They fester, they mutate. This immense, unacknowledged trauma became a poisoned wellspring within Bruce. Every time he felt rage, every time he felt a loss of control, every time the world seemed unfair and violent, this deep-seated, repressed guilt and the terror of what he had done subconsciously fueled the beast within. The Hulk, a creature born of gamma radiation, was also, tragically, a manifestation of Bruce's profound, unaddressed psychological wounds. His uncontrollable rage wasn't just a response to immediate threats or perceived injustices. It was, in part, an outward explosion of an internal, agonizing scream. The rage of the Hulk was amplified by the unresolved horror of that day at Rebecca's grave. It was the frustration of a mind trying to outrun its own past, the terror of a truth too terrible to consciously admit, bursting forth in devastating green fury. The constant battle Bruce waged against the Hulk wasn't just a physical one. It was a desperate struggle against the shadow of his own actions, a shadow he didn't even know was there.
This tragic episode in Bruce Banner's life offers a poignant look at the human psyche's capacity for self-preservation and the heavy price it sometimes exacts. The memory of killing his father, though repressed, never truly left him. It became an invisible weight, a silent trigger, contributing profoundly to the very destructive nature he desperately fought to control. It reminds us that our past, especially the parts we try to forget, can shape our present in profound and often painful ways. The story of Bruce and Brian isn't just a superhero's origin. It's a deeply human tale of trauma, guilt, and the complex ways we cope or fail to cope with the unbearable. It underscores that even the strongest among us carry scars, and the true strength often lies in confronting the shadows within. What are your thoughts on how repressed trauma can manifest in such powerful ways? Share your insights in the comments below. If you found this exploration thought-provoking, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more journeys into the profound stories behind our favorite characters. Your support helps us continue these thoughtful discussions.